Um, hey, hi, Sita.
Hey, hi, Shaheen.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Actually, like participants are joining, so can we wait for 2 more minutes and then we can go ahead?
Definitely, sure.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are all doing great. And so today we have with us Ipsika Adab, and she is basically from Invest India. And today we are going to discuss about how to leverage Startup India scheme benefits. Ipsika, like since I didn't have much information about you, so please go ahead and introduce yourself. And the house is open now. Please go ahead and take the presentation.
Thank you so much, Shaheen. And I would like to first of all thank Shaheen and the entire team of Theatrical Incubation Center at SKU. It's a great initiative that they've taken, and they're doing this entire series of Acharya 3.0, the faculty development program on entrepreneurship. And of course, as she just mentioned, that today's session will be about how to leverage the Startup India scheme and its benefits. So I'll be taking you through that. But before that, just giving a brief introduction about me. My name is Ipsita, and I'm a part of the Startup India team at Invest India. So Startup India, of course, is an initiative which is under DPIIT, the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, which comes under the Ministry of Commerce of central government. So, I'll be talking about more of the details that the Startup India initiative provides to all the, not just its startup, but the entire ecosystem, entire startup ecosystem, and how it promotes entrepreneurship. So I have a very basic pitch deck which I'll take you through, and of course we can keep the session interactive later on. Once I'm done, you can please put your questions forward to me. So just give me a second while I pull out my presentation. Shine, if you can confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so Startup India, the initiative was launched in 2016 on 16th January, and the basic when scheme was launched, there were 19 action points under 3 pillars. The first pillar being simplification and handholding, second pillar being funding support and incentives, and the third pillar being industry, academia, partnerships, and incubation. So, of course, there were these 3 pillars, and there were 19 action points under it. And the scheme was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And of course, there has been an exponential growth of the ecosystem of the country over these past few years. Currently, India is the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, with more than 69,000 recognized startups. So one of the key action points, or you can say deliverables, that Startup India does is it provides recognition to startups. It provides DPIT recognition to startups. So and it's not that all these startups are coming from, let's say, Delhi, Mumbai, and the Bangalore of the country. 45% of these 69,000 plus startups are from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which is something very great to look at, because when we talk about innovation and entrepreneurship, it's not just the metro cities. We are focusing, and the country can see tremendous growth in tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well. Also, as per the self-reported data by the startups who get recognized with us, it can be seen that on an average, one startup creates 11 jobs. So it is wonderful to see how the growing startup ecosystem is contributing to the overall generating employment and the overall growth of the economy of the country. Also, there's this online portal, Startup India hub, which is there, and it has more than 5.3 lakh users, more than 5.3 lakh users. So you can also visit it. And also, so just giving you a basic brief about the startup funding landscape. As you can see here, you can see that there has been a growth, of course, because of the pandemic. There were some lows, but again, we are reaching towards new highs every day in the funding landscapes, also dealing with not just funding and deals also. Yeah. So these are few data points. Apart from that, now coming to the main thing, here is the number of unicorns. So now unicorns, if you would have known that we are currently sitting at, India has recently touched 100 unicorns in total, with a total valuation of $333 billion, more than $333 billion, of course. And this figure has been recently touched, which is, of course, one of the major achievements of the Indian startup ecosystems. And the growth in the number of unicorns is exponential. So as you see, in till 2020, we had somewhere around these many. These are basically the marginal number of additions that we've been making. So 21 to 2021 and 22. So I've been seeing a great rise in the number of unicorns, with, of course, additional funding and the quality of innovations that the startups of India are bringing in these days. So that has led to a great increase in the number of unicorns, with currently 100 unicorns, with us touching the number of 100 unicorns. Then apart from the landscape, now coming to the Startup India initiative, and the role of government, of course, as the enabler of the startup ecosystem. First of all, what is a startup? So I'm not sure if all of you know this or not, but there is a well-defined definition of a startup. And as per this definition, DPIT is providing recognition to all the businesses, and it is providing recognition through which a business can be called as a startup. So I'll take you through these parameters. These are very basic and brief parameters. first of all, the type of entity. So there are various types of entities. There's sole proprietorship, there are partnerships, there are various forms of partnerships, there's a private limited company. But for a company to be called a startup, it has to be either of these three types of entities. First, either it can be a private limited company, or it can be a limited liability partnership, or it can be a registered partnership also. Next is the age of the startup. So the entity should not be more than 10-year-old. So as if currently we are sitting in 2022, we are sitting in May of 2022. So an entity should not be incorporated prior to May 2012. Then it cannot apply for the recognition and cannot be called as to be called as a startup. The next criteria that is there is, it's not just the age that matters. So let's say if you are a 7-year-old entity, but you've crossed the revenue of 100 CR in any, the turnover of 100 CR in any fiscal year, then also the tag of startup cannot be put on you as per the definition of startup. Also, this definition was notified under the GSR, notified on 19th February 2019. Also, so apart from these three, first the type of entity, second the age of entity, and then third the revenue cap that is there. The fourth thing is that the entity must be working either towards innovation, scalability, job creation, or wealth creation. So either of these things should be a part of the business model of the entity. And when all of these criteria are met, then of course the entity can be given a tag of the startup or the recognition. Now, how to get recognized? I told you about the various criterias, but there is a form. There is a process on how you can get this recognition. It is a certificate which you will get once you apply for, to get yourself recognized as a startup. So this entire process is a very simple process, and you can easily find it out on the website of Startup India. There's an online form which you have to fill if you want to get the DPIIT recognition. You as an entrepreneur have to get the DPIIT recognition. And this online application form asks for very basic documents like your incorporation certificate or a basic pitch deck about your company and some details about your business model, like what is the problem that the startup is solving, what is your USP, and how are you basically generating revenue. So all these very brief questions are asked in the form. Then the application. So the filling up the form might not take more than 20 minutes for any startup. Then the evaluation process usually takes from 24 to 48 hours. Like application will be evaluated by the Startup India team and DPIIT, and then the recognition will be given to the startup in form of a blockchain certificate. Now, of course, apart from getting the tag of a startup, what are the other benefits that you will get out of this certificate, out of the DPIIT recognition, startup recognition certificate? Some of the key benefits have been listed here. Government procurement. We have a separate pathway on the GEM portal. If you're aware about what GEM portal is, it's government e-marketplace where you can where you can list down your products and services, and through this portal various ministries and other government organizations procure their requirements from. Then patent filing has been made easy. There are tax benefits that are provided to startups, and then there's compliance regime also. So coming to the next point is the Startup India Hub that I talked about in the beginning. It has more than 5 lakh plus registered users, and a lot of details are available, as in if you want to know about the startup ecosystem of the country, you can go through the website. It has resource partnered services, L&D programs, it has schemes and policy details listed out there, it has publications and reports and virtual showcase, etc. So that's there. Now we get this question in a lot that apart from let's say the benefits and sort of other things, startups tend to look for funding. Right now, through Startup India, there are three ways to access the funding. First of all, the fund of funds. This, of course, the DPIT has given the funds to SIDBs, and SIDB has given the fund to, of course, AIFs, and then the fund is given to startups. So, of course, the startup cannot directly apply for fund of funds, but it is, of course, routed through the invest funds to the startups indirectly, and total fund of 10,000 crore has been put in the fund of funds. The second thing is the seed fund scheme. So it is applicable, the seed fund scheme is applicable to early age startups. Now you can directly, if you are an early age startup, you can directly apply to get the seed funding. And how you can apply is, so what happened, the process is that DPIIT has allocated certain, there are incubators which DPIIT selects, to which it gives its funds to, and these incubators in turn give the funding to the startups. So of course there is a very strict criteria of shortlisting of these incubators also. So you can see a list of incubators on the website which have been provided this seed fund scheme, and you can apply for the seed fund scheme also from the website itself, from the website of Startup India itself. But you'll have to select, of course, your incubator. So, and you can select your incubator basis the sort of business you're doing or the area that you're in. So that can definitely be of help. And just to mention that seed fund, as it mentions, is it's a seed fund, so it is applicable only for very early age startups. You can get the details on the website about various criteria that a startup has to fit in to apply for the seed fund scheme, and of course to get it also. Next is the credit guarantee scheme, and credit limit against loans has been extended to members dues and INR of 2,000 crore has been put under the scheme. So these are the various parts of access to funding. Next, coming to market access, apart from, of course, tax exemptions and funding, there are market access which is also provided to the DPIT recognized startups. There are, first of all, domestic. When we talk about domestic market access, we have government engagements and domestic and corporate engagements. Government, as I mentioned, through GEM, there's a government e-marketplace, and you can actually, once you have your DPIT certificate, recognition certificate in place, you can apply. You can put yourself down on the government e-marketplace portal. You can list yourself down as a business, and yeah, that would be of help if you want to sell your products to the government entities. Then the second thing which is there is the domestic and corporate engagements. We do a lot of corporate partnerships, and the corporates also at times tend to look out for solutions which are innovative, and they tend to look out for these innovative solutions from startups. And we keep doing a lot of corporate partnerships from time to time. So of course, if you're registered with us, you would be receiving emails about these ongoing partnerships, or you can find all the details about them on the Startup India hub, which is the website, so you can visit it anytime. Next we have so we talked about domestic engagements. Next we have the international engagements. So currently there are Startup India had made 13 international bridges with 30 plus Indian missions across 5 continents. The latest bridges were Canada and Croatia. So apart from that, we have, of course, bridges with Japan, United States, Netherlands, and Sweden. So what we do is through these bridges, the startups of both these countries get access to each other's markets. So let's say you have a product or a service that you would want to access the market for in other countries, and if we have a bridge with that particular country, it is easier to get connects there, find connects, and of course learn from the ecosystem of that particular country as well. So that helps in creating an environment for Indian innovation in global markets. Yeah, so that's about international engagements. Next is the state's startup ranking framework. So apart from benefits, direct benefits to the startup, now we come on how the Startup India initiative has been helping the states in building the state-specific startup policies. So as of now, 31 states and UTs have a dedicated startup policy, and there's a state startup ranking system, which is a capacity building exercise for all states and UTs, and a lot of like stakeholder consultation, capacity building workshops, etc. goes in here. And if you see on the map here, the green areas already had policies before the Startup India initiative was launched, but the purple areas are the areas where the startup policies were launched after the launch of the Startup India initiative. So of course, the state startup ranking has played a major role in motivating the states to build a startup specific policy for their respective states. So this is about the overall states and what they are doing. So of course, if I know you're from Andhra, but if you want to look at different states in India, you want to know their startup policies, please go to their Google their policies and read them in detail. So you'll get to know more about what a particular state is doing and how they are helping the startup ecosystem in their particular state. So that's about it. Next we have, so Startup India does a lot of marquee events also, like the Startup India Yatra, which was started in 2018. Then there was a global VC summit also, which happened in 2018 and 19. And there was Praramb, which took place in 2021, and SU Startup Forum, which is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Startup Forum. It took place in 2020 and 2021 as well. So these are some of the marquee events of Startup India, which so these are usually spread across the year. So and these also provide a lot of opportunities for not just startups but all the stakeholders of the startup ecosystem, ranging from incubators to other mentors, mentorship to startups and other benefits, of course. So, and last but not the least, there is a National Startup Advisory Council, which is of course chaired by the Honorable CIM, which is the Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industries, Shri Piyush Goyal. And NSAC, National Startup Advisory Council, is the council that advises the government on how what are the steps that are to be taken to build a strong ecosystem and for helping the startups in building more scalable and innovative solutions in the country. So, and apart from that, so this council has 28 non-official members, and of course the convener is the additional secretary of TPIIT, and the council usually meets once every quarter. So yes, and last here listed is the connect with us details. So if you have any queries, you can of course drop in a message here on this website, which is dipp/startups@nic.in. Now I think I've not bored you, but would like to know if you have any questions or any topic that you would want to know more about.
Yes, that was really a good information, Ipsita, from your end. Now the house is open for questions. So if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask the question. So Ipsita will answer that question. Can you please unmute if you have any?
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for a very informative session. Ma'am, can we get any startup assistance? Are there any like firms or any particular speakers who can give us the startup assistance regarding overall funding schemes to our students, and how to initially go with the startup, and what is the startup culture, like these things.
So basically, I think you're asking about mentorship, right? To startups, as in how to build their businesses, how to build, let's
Yeah,
say, pitch
yes,
deck and
ma'am.
everything. So it's we do not have mentors as in very specific and listed down mentors. But what happens is that I told you about a lot of these events that we do, right? And a lot of corporate partnerships that we take place. So if there's a particular startup that wants to get some of the mentorship, because this is a very vast session, so we cannot have mentors listed down for each and everything. So as and when different topics come up, you can actually apply, and you can actually apply for that program that provides mentorship. So let's say we recently had this corporate challenge called the FLCTD corporate challenge. It was for startups who are in the green tech space, okay, dealing towards sustainability and renewable resources. So this corporate, of course, provided grants, and it provided mentorships to the startups as well. So you have to actually look out at the website, and a lot of times, like, there's this another event called the National Startup Awards. So you should apply for that. Even if you're one of the finalists, you get dedicated mentorship sessions which are specific to your sector. Let's say, because you would need mentorship in your specific sector, right? So you would get specific mentors which are the pro people in your particular area, and you who have in-depth knowledge about the sector or the industry that you're dealing in, and they can of course guide you on how to take your business forward. So that's about
Okay,
it from my side.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
to add to that, what Ipsika has said, like, the purpose of this entire Acharya program is that only, like, to equip with the information about the startups, like from legal compliances to mentorship and the funding possibilities and everything. So at the end of all this session, you'll get an idea about this ecosystem of startups, and you start doing yourself. And of course, AIC is also there for you to mentor and to assist you wherever is possible and wherever is required.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? So I hope, like, that's all for from participants end, and thank you so much, Ipsika.
Thank you so much, Shine. It was a wonderful
Yes, yes. And thank you
experience.
so much. Like, like I have informed you in the afternoon, I think at 2 o'clock, but still you have taken up the call and uh, done whatever is required. Thank you so much
No
from
problem,
you.
Shine. I'm so sorry from Harshita's part. She could not make it today.
Yes,
And it was a pleasure meeting and talking with you. Thank you so much. And
yes.
thank you so much, everyone, to
Thank
everyone
you.
present
Thank you
here.
so much. And we are looking forward to have many sessions from Startup India. See you
Definitely.
again.
See
Okay.
you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, yeah. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. Guys, like, we'll meet again tomorrow with another topic. Until then, take care. Bye bye.